Welcome back to Reynolds Runabouts, everybody. This is Jeffrey Reynolds. Uh, so spring is trying to spring here in Michigan, northern Michigan, and with it are some boats that are coming in for restoration within the next year. This boat is from Virginia. It was found in a woods by a owner who decided he wanted to save it and towed it from northern Virginia up to northern Michigan for me to restore. This will be my first lake and sea that I've restored, and I'm happy that I have one I can work on for someone that wants to take it home and use it and love it. So, uh, give you a little overview of this boat. It does not have its hull identification number. The plate on the inside of the cockpit is missing. So, all I do know is that this boat was made sometime between 1959 and 1961. And there were some that even say they were made in 62, but I think those were just holdovers from a 61 inventory. Lake and Sea in Traverse City, Michigan stopped actively making the 14-foot Caribbean in 1960. And then there was another company that used the licensing and some molds called Michigan Fiberglass Plastics to build boats as well. This is a Parsons. It's on the name tag, and I'll show it to you. So sometime between 59 and 61, this boat was built. What we're going to do is a full restoration, meaning I'm going to take it apart. And within it, I'm sure I'll find rotted stringers and a rotted transom. Spent decades outside, and it was covered in brush and even had a tree growing in it when the owner found it. So this is going to be a good project. I like the ones that when you start working on them, they only get better looking. So I'll give you a little walkthrough on this boat. So not in too bad a shape, 14 feet. This boat was originally what they called the suntan. You can see the color here. It was painted with red. Looks like a primer coat was put on it, and then they tried to paint it red. You can see from the nameplate, this is how I identify it, Parsons Corporation. If it's a Michigan Fiberglass Plastics, this has been routed out of the metal. So they bought some plates from Parsons in Traverse City and just routed out the Parsons and left it blank. So that's how you tell. Not in too bad a condition. Steering wheel is really, it doesn't appear to be original and is trash. So I'll be getting him a new Detroit Marine Engineering gold one. I have some in my stock. The Atwood stern light is original. I'll get him a new globe. The vents are not original. I will be putting a blower system on this so he doesn't have to have those unsightly vents, because these were not vented well in the rear compartment. This one is missing its two rear seats that fold up and forward. I have extras that I can use. So you can imagine, this is the compartment where the two gas tanks sat, and there was no ventilation built in the construction of it. Not a good idea. So you see vents quite a bit from people that were even instructed to do it or thought it was a good idea. I'll put a vent in so we can make it look more original. There's some extra parts. Here's a fender cleat we don't need. Original step pads. Dashboard is missing its plate. The metal foil. Steering wheel is not original. And the Sears motor, I guess, that was on this at one point is long gone. So other than that, it's normal. Most of I have 3 Caribbeans and they all look like this. Some of the Wilcox Crittenden hardware that you'll see on some of the later models, it seems like I'm finding the step pad is not original. And then the Atwood Seaflight light is original. Windshield, great shape. The corner windshield angles probably can be saved. 2 are missing. I'll put 2 more on inventory for that. Windshield will clean up. Got the original aluminum brackets. And then, yeah. These I have extras of. I'll see if we can get the chromer to save them. A lot of pop metal on these boats, so it's hard to work on. But, I have backups. Transom, assuming, is bad. As you can see, they all crack right here. This is because it got water behind it, and then the water pushes with ice and breaks that. So that's why you do that. So I'll try to save the skin, and if not, I'll just rebuild it with brand new fiberglass cloth. And yeah, so not too bad. Some structural repairs here. That'll be an interesting video to do for you. The Wilcox Crittenden cable guides. That's nice. Sometimes those are missing. A lot of the time, the hardware on a Lake and Sea stays on it because they're really hard to get at. So people are just frustrated and trying to steal the hardware or just harvest it for sale. So yeah, and here's the wheel. Not sure what it is. Certainly not anything I've ever seen on a Lake and Sea. Even the metal plate on the dash is not original. There's too much angle. You can see the drum underneath that holds the cable. That's usually not like that. It needs to be angled more down. Maybe a very large person, so they moved it up. Not sure. No gauges or anything, so I'll have to work with the owner on what gauges he would like. They would like. It's a couple very engaged in this boat. I think we're leaning towards teal for the top, which is one of the original colors. Suntan, not one I would choose either, but we'll see. And once we get the color chosen for the paint, I will have an upholsterer create a new set of seat cushions for it, because they're missing. I've only found a few boats that ever had them. So, all right, that's one project I'm on working. I'll take you back in the shop and show you what else I've got going this spring. This will be my first sailboat that I've worked on in a long time. Years ago, I did I think a 60s Highlander, which is a kind of a hybrid race boat built in the Ohio area. And by the Green, I think Green Industries is involved in it, Ray Green. So this is an Alarain 28. It's a race sailboat here in northern Michigan, and I'm going to work on the Teak. The Teak needs to be stripped down. It's got the original, not original, so it's got varnish on it, and the owner would like the varnish stripped off and reapplied. So what I'm going to do is just take that on as a project that can be done with mostly sandpaper, because I don't want to use heat or any chemicals near this fiberglass. So I'll give you an idea what we're up against. So I'm up on my scaffold. I'm going to be spending a lot of time on this scaffold working on the rails, and then you'll see the combings or the inside cockpit that you can lean against it. Some detail down there. There's a little shelf. Going forward, you see the cabin entrance, cockpit entrance has some teak on it, and then the handrails, and then the protective rail that runs along the cabin top on both sides, and of course these tow rails. Not too bad. You know, a little bit. This is the beauty of varnish. You can always tell when it's starting to go, and that's when you can get at it. If you don't get at it, you end up with a breakthrough. This is not a breakthrough from sandpaper. This is a breakthrough from just wear, sun, and weather, and it's starting to go gray. Now, teak is not too bad. Teak you can even leave bare. A lot of people do. They let it weather because it's got so much oil in it naturally that it's really rot resistant. But you can see this, it's time. There's enough wear here where you want to go ahead and get at it before it gets bad. This is pretty indicative of what's happening in the corner. Probably got hit or just wore through. But this is the time to really get at it. So I'm going to do that. It's one of my projects. Want to get this done early this spring so that the owner can get it in the water for sailing season. This spring I'll also be returning to the work on the mystery boat of 1960, U.S. molded shape, home built, I think. It's looking a little bit different maybe than the last time we had a video on this boat. I think I might put one more coat of black on. I'm gonna do a polish patch to see if I like it. And if I see that the paint is a little too thin, I'll go ahead and put another coat on of the Pettit epoxy, easy epoxy. I put the gold stripe on already. Not a big deal to have that already done. I wanted to get that done and get that edge finished, so I was happy with it. So now I can work my wax and polishing right up until that line, or paint if I have to. I can blend it in with polish. This boat will get polished more than likely to get that super luster, smooth finish like I did with my Wondercraft. You can never really get all of the dust nibs out if you don't polish them. And this easy epoxy, you can really polish well. So I played with it a little bit already on the transom. That works pretty good. So yes, I need to get one more coat of paint on this, get it polished out and waxed, and then I'll go ahead and I'll flip it, and we'll finish this boat up pretty quick with just putting some internal parts like the splash well back in, and then applying the wiring, getting that ready to go, and then put the deck on. I want to get the wiring and steering gear in before I put the deck on so I can get in there and work a lot easier, believe me. This boat is bigger than some I've worked on, but it's still not easy to get around under the decks once the deck is on. So that would be a couple weeks away. I have to get this ready and work on the Alarain and see what I can do to start working on that lake and sea. What I want to do is lift the deck off the lake and sea first and get the chrome removed. You have to do it with the deck off. It's almost impossible to do it. Especially, I don't want to crawl under any more little decks. So get the chrome off, get it off to the chromer, have my upholsterer go ahead and do an estimate and get that project started. You know, the teal and white most likely, and then it'll just be me with a lot of sandpaper, Bondo, resin, and fiberglass, putting the boat back together for paint, which will go pretty quick. So I've got this project, the Alarain, and then the Lake and Sea. The Wondercraft was almost done. As I might have said, I had an organizational hiccup where I have to go in and work almost full time for this organization that I am part of to help get us through to the next employee hire. So that's taken up a lot of my time. The Wondercraft just needs a couple more coats of varnish, and then I'll put the chrome back on. But the upholsterer was ready for the boat, and there were some things that were done originally to the seats that I wanted remedied, fixed, and that upholsterer agreed to do that correction for me. So that that boat is off to the upholsterer, which is great. Once it comes back, I'll give you a video showing all the chrome on and things like that in the motor. Hopefully get it in the water. So that's a little update about what I'm doing at Reynolds Runabouts. Sorry for the delays. Like I said, I've got to get through this organizational changeover and get back into the boat shop a lot more. But till then, take care.